I know there's a lot going on in our world right now, and you guys as a team have been discussing it this week, taking some time in your team meetings to discuss all the racial tensions that are happening across the country right now. What have those meetings been like?
They've been very resourceful. Um a lot of knowledge is being, passed through those meetings, and it's been powerful. I think, a lot of teams are, obviously having these type of conversations, but I believe, we've been going a lot of deeper than some other teams. And obviously, I can't speak for other teams, but I'm just speaking off the experiences that we had. We've had conversations each and every day this week. Matty P did a great job of just, bringing the attention to the team last Friday. He's given us an opportunity to, just as black men to express our frustrations, and for, white brothers in there to, give an opportunity to learn to what we go through, to give us an opportunity, to kind of just, give them experiences and life experiences that we went to. Because, some, people are just oblivious, right, wrong, or indifferent. That's just the way the world is. So it's been very, very impactful, and it's been really, really powerful.
How did those conversations start? I mean, I know you guys get on these video calls with each other to discuss the team, to discuss your scheme, and get to know each other as players. But of course, at some point this week, that conversation shifted to the current events and the current state of our country. How did that begin?
With the leadership of Matty P. I mean, he gave, obviously we started phase three this week, but like you said, with everything going on, I mean, how can you truly focus on football? Where the world and the country is kind of at odds. This person has this opinion, this person has that opinion, and how can you truly, with all this going on, focus on football? And I think he understood that, and we were appreciative of that as a team. And it's been, just like I said, great conversations from the top to bottom. Like, everybody has been involved, and we've been able to grow as a team. Because at the end of the day, this is a team sport, and if you can truly commit to each other, and love each other no matter what your race, gender, like anything, that's how a team really creates a brotherhood. And the wins will come off of that. But right now we're just focusing on, loving each other, showing everybody the respect, and trying to get through this as a team, so that when we're able to get back out in the society, um, we can be the light. We can help change, society and the community, just based off, how people view our team.
How have you seen opinions shift and eyes be opened throughout these conversations that you've been having with your teammates?
Like I said earlier, I mean, you don't want to go into detail, because obviously, those conversations are private. The growth that, was made in there, um, will be reflected based on, our team and how close we come together. But I would say, just, it's the idea of how, people are just really opening their ears and listening. I think the thing that, like, obviously the George Floyd murder, that was, obviously one of the craziest things, and one of the most heartbreaking things that I've ever, seen in my life. But I think the idea with, the coronavirus, COVID-19 going around, it really forced everybody. There's no sports, there's nothing. Everybody's in the confinements of their home, so like nobody can run away from it. Like, nobody could say they were too busy to deal with. It's everywhere. It's on, social media, on every, obviously news. It's just everywhere. So I think just the idea of nobody really being able to, run from what is going on, and it just opened up everybody's eyes and ears to realize, all right, this needs to stop. We need change. And in reality, for us to get change, this has to be an issue that everybody has to tackle, just not the African American community or the brown community. Like, this is a American issue, a United States issue, that for us to be able to truly create this change, we have to attack this as a society.
Obviously, some of these conversations were had back in 2016 when Colin Kaepernick's protests were happening. Do you feel like the conversation has shifted or progressed even amongst your teammates and the whole NFL since then?
Oh, without a doubt. I think, when Colin, when Cap took his knee, I think a lot of people just wanted to, talk about the fact that he was kneeling, and everybody wanted to kind of shift the narrative and talk about, the flag rather than, the actual issues that, that were going on at the time. And it's still the same issues today. So, I mean, if anything, all we can do is obviously applaud, Cap for what he did, what he stood up for, and just make sure that we're doing everything we can to, continue to follow his, his path, his legacy, so that we can also, help push forward, the changes and the progression that we need to make for our society and our community to be the best community for everybody to feel safe.
Even before these current events happened, the Lions started a social justice initiative called Detroit Lions Inspired Change. I know you are new to the team, so you're just kind of starting to dive into that, but I imagine that this team is working on ways to implement change through that initiative in our current society. What things do you guys, as players, want to do tangibly in the community right now?
Well, there's a lot to do, when you just think about obviously the community, and I can't really speak too much obviously on the city of Detroit because I'm not even familiar with the city yet. I haven't got there. I'm an active member of the Players Coalition. We were able to do some great things in Boston to work with Devin McCourty, Jason McCourty, Matt Slater, and we was able to change some a law. We were able to pass the education bill to get more money for obviously schools who are dealing with poverty and doesn't have the same resources as other public schools. So obviously just trying to figure out what needs to be done. Obviously we can always talk about police reform, ways to try to hold the police officers more accountable. I mean, we get obviously we talk about the police, and I'll be the first to say it's they're not all bad guys. It's a few bad apples that we as a society got to hold ourselves accountable to eliminate those bad apples. Because I have friends, best friends that are police officers, and they do it the right way, and they go out there and they risk their lives to make sure that we are safe as a community. So I think starting with the police reform, then you kind of have to go look at who's in power of making these decisions, to send people to prison, like the DA and stuff like that. But like I said, I'm not too informed uh, on obviously the area itself and what needs to be done. But I'm telling you, when I get up there, me and my family will be ready to work, not only to play football, but to make change in the community.
One of the initial things that the Lions have done has been to promote a march that's happening on Friday in Detroit,
Mm-hmm.
a march
Mm-hmm.
for change. What have you thought of the Lions' outward response? I know you guys have talked as a team, but just outwardly being able to support that march.
You got to appreciate it. I mean, because at the end of the day, we got to look at it. I mean, just I think in the National Football League, 68% of the players in the league are African American. So it's a lot of us, and we all uh, feel like there's time. It's time for a change, and it's our duty and our responsibility. And you know, in reality, it's the organization's responsibility to get behind the players, to support the players. Because I mean, like I said, I mean, almost 70% of the league is African American. So our problems need to be the league's problems as well, because we're well represented in this league, and it's our responsibility to hold the league accountable. And in the end, it's going to be our responsibility as a league to hold the country responsible for doing everything the right way. If there's racism, calling it out. If there's social inequality, like, let's do something about it. And I think the NFL is doing a great job and taking a great step to making sure that us as players are truly being heard.
Duron, thank you so much for sharing your thoughts and being so thoughtful and sincere with them. We really appreciate your insight, and we support you guys in all the work that you are doing for change.
Thank you so much, Tori. Have a good one.